painting to photography, from beadwork to woodworking. KQAL-FM on the campus of Winona State University presents Art Beat. Art Beat highlights the work and accomplishments of local artists from in and around Winona. Support for Art Beat is made possible by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund.
Pictures can be known to capture bits and pieces of history. Other times it's meant to symbolize messages that are used to spread throughout the media. Symbolic messages may be negative, but these messages specifically give light to a more positive message. On today's Art Beat, we talk to astonished photographer Vonte Thompson with his latest exhibit, Give Me My Flowers, Exhaulting Black Women and Girls. His exhibit featured multiple shots of his models included with subjects that were discussed throughout an interview, each photo representing art, beauty, and power. Join us now as we pull back the curtain and discuss the astounding art of Vonte Thompson, today on Art Beat.
I'm here with local photographer Vonte. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right. So what are you exhibiting here at the No Name Bar?
Today I'm exhibiting what I would consider the first installment of a brand of sorts, Give Me My Flowers. This installment is called Give Me My Flowers, Exalting Black Women and Girls.
Right, and I noticed in a lot of the imagery they're usually posing with a bouquet of flowers. What do flowers symbolize in them?
Yeah, so giving someone their flowers, basically giving someone their adoration, the credit that they deserve just for me, for just being a human being and existing in a world that's pretty hard to exist in. So for this project, specifically for Black women and girls, for the two models, the bouquet of flowers is just to represent them being given, like literally, their flowers and their just dues for existing in a world that, especially for a Black person, can be pretty difficult.
Well, is there a certain message to the specific flowers you chose, or is there anything in the specific images that have a certain meaning?
The meaning for the flowers themselves, for like what kind, no, but the meaning for really for them with this setup was just more of color coding. This is, like I said, the first installment of this brand and of this kind of exhibit for Black women and girls. I plan on doing it again next year and going forward over and over and over again. Then I'll be digging more into like reasoning and motifs and things like that. But for right now, it was more just for color coding and just for the actual meaning of giving it to them.
All right. Well, if you plan to continue this in the future, is there a certain theme that'll remain consistent? Or is it always going to be flowers, or maybe next year do you plan on something else, or do you not know yet?
I've thought about it. If it'll be something else. I think about right now, it's going to always be flowers. I think the one thing that'll be definitely consistent is in the exhibition, you see two 20 by 30 big fine art prints, and they are the ones depicted with the flowers in a kind of a head-turned portrait style. That's going to be consistent throughout. That'll be in every exhibit. There's always going to be one picture of that for each model. But other things are up for subject to change. The color in the background this year was blue. It might be green next year. It just depends, honestly, what I get out of the interviews with the models that interviewed them beforehand to get an idea of what to do for a stripped down kind of, basic but really striking portrait. So it kind of just depends on what we get out of the models.
So what you're saying is each of these photos are supposed to be representations of what you heard from these people when you interviewed them?
Yeah, specifically, yes. For example, for Asia, the Black woman in these portraits, in her interview, she spoke about stepping like into her own light, into her spotlight of sorts, and being who she is in totality. And that's why there's a spotlight on her in each photo. It's kind of off kilter at all times. Kind of just the awkwardness of it that we had spoken about. But yeah, so for her, that was the main portrait part. And for Anaya, there are some portraits where there's a background with anime in it. She said that she doesn't feel like a Black woman, she's a Black girl. And that's when I changed the name to Black Women and Girls, because I found that was really important. And, you see anime and things in the background, and then her main portrait is kind of like she's trying to be an adult, but you can tell that she's a kid. And that's the beauty of it. And she happens to be, I call her my sister. She's my girlfriend's sister, but she happens to be, family to me, and she's an awesome all-around kid.
That is quite the story, and you're really trying to you're trying to exemplify the uniqueness of each individual, especially in a world where they're continuously putting us into groups.
Yeah.
You know, and that's something that I think is really important to specify. The idea that we are individuals who have our differences, we have our struggles, and this is the world we live in now, and this is what we're willing to face. And that begs a question. What struggles have you heard? If I may ask, if it's not too much to ask, what struggles? Yeah.
One thing I'd be definitely comfortable with sharing is one of the models that discussed how, sometimes finding your space as a black person in Winona specifically can be hard. Another thing was kind of just not being defined by the boxes that you're being put in, and just existing like as a person. I mean, a lot of black people don't feel, I won't speak for everyone who's black, but I can say for myself, feel like, sometimes if you like something else, you'll get the weirdest comment from black people and non-black people about like, oh, well, that's not black, or oh, that's not something. And it's like, my color, my skin doesn't dictate what I like. It just dictates the reality of like what you see me as.
Right, and I've actually seen that with some of my fellow friends who are also black. The idea that the box doesn't only tend to our skin color, but our hobbies, our interests, what we believe. It gets tied to us as like some kind of motion of our identity, when really we're a diverse amount of people, We think just the same as anyone else, And I think your art really does encompass that pretty well. And I must ask, why did you choose photography as a medium?
I've been okay at taking pictures. I started doing photography, this is going to sound super cheesy, because I took a picture and my girlfriend liked it, and I bought a camera, and then I got better at it, and then I took a break. So for me, I've always been a creative person. Musically, I love music. I like study music in a weird, creepy way. Like, oh, this is like, did you know that this sounds like, and just, and love artists and stories and things like that. So for me, being good at photography, or good enough, was immediately the way that I wanted to express, like I said, this brand of Give Me My Flowers. In the future, like I said, the brand's gonna have more things. There'll be more, stuff underneath it than just exalting black women and girls. But I've even played around with 3D modeling, but the one that I was most capable of doing right now was photography.
Well, I know this is going off of a bit of a tangent, but you mentioned studying music a little bit weird. Can you explore that a bit?
Yeah, so I really love music. Music is probably part of the reason I'm alive. If I find an artist that I love, my favorite thing to do is look up an artist that most people don't know, right? And then just kind of dig through, go work backwards to more other artists that are similar to them. Like, for right now, people say R&B is dead. Which I find stupid, because I find a bunch of new R&B artists that they're never going to chart probably, but they make amazing music. And sometimes it's really great to see them, blow up into gigantic stars. I remember finding The Weeknd in 2010 on the internet under some random YouTube channel. And I remember hearing it and I was like, this is going to be the biggest artist in the world. This voice is similar to Michael, and it's this dark, seedy music. And no one loved it. And I was obsessed with it. I studied every sound I could think of. I don't play instruments, but I can do a tune on piano. So I just studied the hell out of it. And then, now he's literally one of the biggest artists to ever exist. But I'm obsessed with just finding new music and finding old music and just studying just how they made it and, who wrote it and what the idea was behind it. It just, I don't know, it just makes me really happy.
Would you say the music you hear inspires what you put for us to see?
Yeah, most definitely. One song that was running through my head the entire time I was doing both of these photo shoots is Silly by Denise Williams. It played on the playlist that I put here. And it's just a song about a woman saying, silly of me to think that basically you would love me. And I thought of it just in the form of, a lot of black women, especially darker complexion black women, don't get the love that they deserve. They don't get the love that that anyone craves. And that song was just playing in my head because I just was thinking about, I hope that doing this makes other black women, other black girls see it and see that, one, you're beautiful, you deserve to be loved, and there's nothing stupid or silly about the idea of being treated as a human being and being who you are in its whole.
All right. Well, what advice would you give to someone who also wants to get involved in photography? Someone who's starting out or maybe struggling a bit. I will throw myself in there. But what advice would you have for those people?
These pictures were taken with a Nikon D3400. A lot of people will tell you that's a starter camera. It is what it is, right? You can take a picture with any camera. The lens is what matters more than anything. And also your ability to see something is what matters. Don't be afraid to do something weird. Don't be afraid to just shoot a picture and just say whatever. Both of these photo shoots were done without any test shots. I just went ahead and did it. I had no idea how to use the spotlight. I just bought it and was like, we'll get it done. And I've been using that camera. I have other ones, but that's the one that this was done with. That's the one that I love. If you want to do photography, don't think there's a barrier of entry because of the price. You can buy a Sony M60 or a Canon EOS Rebel or an old Nikon 3200. I had that one for the longest. And you'll get really great pictures out of it as long as you know how to find an angle, find a light source, and see with your vision. And also, using one light, which all these were done with, gives you dramatic light. And it gives you really cool things to mess with. And also, if other people don't like it, it doesn't matter at all. I don't care if none of this sells. What matters to me is that someone loves it, and a little black girl was here today and made my heart happy, almost made me cry because she loves it. And as stupid as that sounds, it made me like jump for joy inside. And it made me, I'm about to tear up right now, just think of like how important it is, and that if I didn't do anything right, at least someone in the world who it's made for literally said, I love this. So, yeah, just make what you think is cool. I make a lot of weird stuff.
Well, speaking of the people this is made for, let's say that someone in our audience is a black woman or a black girl who does feel the emotions you're feeling or you're trying to convey. What is a message you have for them?
I love you, and you deserve to be loved. And even in this world that we live in, there's light. There's people who are like you. And no matter what, and I know I'm a black man, I can't speak for everything that black women go through. No matter what, just don't give up. And like I said, I love you. I love everybody. But most importantly for black women, you're loved and you're adored and you're appreciated and you deserve everything good.
Well, is there anywhere anyone can see your work? Besides the no-name bar, obviously.
Yeah. My really crappy website, moptopshots.com, which I appreciate you putting an inquiry on. Didn't even know that worked. I appreciate that. It's just a basic website with pictures. You'll see some of my weirder stuff in there. You'll see some of my portraits. I don't really sell artwork, but if you want a print or you just want to talk about photography, send the inquiry thing on there to contact me. And I hope you like it. I hope you like the art.
Well, is there anything you'd like our audience to hear before I end the interview?
Everything is art if you made it from yourself. If you made it, it's art. Doesn't matter if someone doesn't understand it. One of the greatest artists is Basquiat, and some people think that shit looks horrible, and that's some of the greatest art I've ever seen in my life. Every form of creativity is art. You're an artist, and no matter what you do, just keep creating. And money, all that stuff, yeah, it's cool. But at the end of the day, what's most important is that part of you that wants to create is fed.
All right, well, I want to thank you for doing this interview with us.
Thank you.
Thanks to Vonte Thompson for joining us on today's Art Beat. To check out more of Vonte's amazing work, check out his website at moptopshots.com. For more talks about art or other similar events, tune into Art Beat Tuesdays at 12:30 p.m. right here at 89.5 KQAL.
Art Beat is written and produced by KQAL-FM on the campus of Winona State University. Visit us on the web at kqal.org.